I need a drink, Nikki.
I don't have anything, but
We can fix that.
yeah, we can.
Yeah. Unless that's hand sanitizer, it's not gonna help.
I think it is.
So the meeting is at 3 for the legislative stuff, and Thursday I'll send you an invitation, it's virtual.
Okay. And I do this one on Thursday, but if I can make it, I will.
It's the broadband request for rec fee funds.
Oh, okay. Can you invite Brandon? Yep. Nikki, do you remember those commercials? They have holding an egg, this is your brain, and then they crack the egg in the thing, this is your brain on drugs. Well, this is my brain, and they crack the egg, this is my brain on COVID relief.
I don't
I hear
think
ya.
anyone's calling in. Did you
I didn't hear from Tony.
Okay. I mean, I guess I can put it on for a second.
Let's see if anybody calls.
Do you know the office is
Down the road, down the street.
It's,
Actually, people working out in the hall.
oh, it's,
I don't know.
it's down, hold on. It's down Pine Street,
Yeah, it's down Pine Street towards the hotel.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
down on the right, before the hotel. Isn't that Pine Street?
I think it's Pine Street.
Oh, yeah.
Right here. You're looking at it right here. Looking good, I mean.
I like the deal. Neither of them both times. And one invited, the other one.
Ready? Okay, everybody ready? Morning, everybody. We ask you to please rise for the prayer and pledge of allegiance. Dear gracious God, we thank you for your many blessings, the beautiful weather we are currently enjoying, your love that you shower us daily, and the abundant grace that you cover our lives. Father, we remember our veterans as we honor them this week. They are the best of society that are called to serve and protect our great land. We ask for your protection and safety for the men and women that give unselfish service to protect our freedoms. For those veterans who have paid the ultimate sacrifice or have passed on to your greatness, may their memory always be preserved for their love and dedication for our freedom. We would not have our freedoms without those outstanding men and women who stand tall for us. Lord, we continue to pray for unity each and every day. We ask that you heal the ones that are ill and return them to us soon. These things we humbly ask in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. We'll convene the Commissioners' public meeting at this time and ask for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Massar will not be with us today, and we hope that he feels better soon. He's a little bit under the weather, so we ask for prayers for him and that he recovers soon. And at this time, we'll ask for public comment on agenda items only. Hearing none, we'll move on.
So we'll move to 2.0, accounts payable cash requirements reports. Nikki Gottschall has 2 this morning.
Good
Morning, Nikki.
Commissioners. There's 2 reports for your review. Did you have any questions on either of those? One was for last week because there were no meetings,
Right.
so.
To make note, the one that's 1,882,000, 1,132 is coming from the RMS, 60%, which comes out of the revenues of the RMS. So that'll give us a little bit of relief.
Now when you're making money to
Yeah,
spend money.
yeah. So I just wanted to let the public know that.
Good point. Okay, I have a motion to accept the cash requirements
I'll
for,
move to approve.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.
HR is doing open enrollment today, so Director McDermott, he's going to present the personnel actions.
Morning, Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. Do you want me just to go through all of them and then you can approve them all together?
Yep.
All right, so 3.1 in soil conservation, Gregory L. Onsel, full-time replacement, conservation district manager, pay grade 11, salary $50,548.35, effective 7 December 2020. In the courts, Judge Butts, Janine M. Houghton, full-time reclassification law clerk, pay grade 9, $42,179.89, effective 5 November 2020. In the courts for Judge Linhart, Carolyn R. Posner, full-time reclassification, law clerk 1, pay grade 10, salary $46,137.13, effective 15 November 2020. And in the courts, Judge Linhart, Carolyn R. Posner, full-time reclassification.
Sorry, I forgot to take that out.
So it should get rid of 3.3 and just keep 3.4?
Yeah,
Was it
it's
3.4?
pay grade 11, so
Pay
we're
grade
getting
11.
rid of 3.3.
Yes.
Typo.
Sorry.
Okay.
No worries. Pay grade, law clerk 2, pay grade 11, $50,548.35, effective 15 November 2020.
I was confused. I thought that it was the,
They made a change this morning.
HR did?
Yeah. This is what it should be. That's what she said. It had to do with years of service.
Yeah, years of service.
oh, okay. Oh, see.
That's her.
Where'd you get on it?
Well, they would have checked it. I'm not sure, but they would have checked it.
Okay. So this is consistent with the
Yeah.
policy? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, this is just a policy.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you need to see this, Director? Do you want this one?
I have.
Okay.
But she must have been here more than 2 years.
I believe she was, and that's why they made the change
Yeah.
this morning.
Experience.
The judge called her.
Right.
called-
Did we ever
Roxanne.
vote on the change to the policy for the law clerk?
That's in the TDA actions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Coming up
okay.
next.
Yeah.
Okay, that's coming up next.
Up
Okay.
next.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so, it's all right. We're voting on this a couple minutes ahead of the other one, but,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I'll
Do you have any-
move to approve the
Any questions or discussion on it?
Oh, the only thing I do want to mention is that the new Conservation District Manager is taking the place of Mark Davidson, who's been with the county almost 32 years, I believe, and has really done a fantastic job over there at the Conservation District, and he's retiring, and we'll definitely miss him, and we're very excited to have Gregory Bonsall coming
Union County.
from Union County, right. So we welcome him when he arrives.
Yep. Okay. I have a motion to accept.
I'll move to approve it. That's it.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Additionally, HR would like approval on the personal actions report for the month of October 2020.
Any discussion on those?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve and accept.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
4.0, Director McDermott's going to do the TDA actions.
Now we'll get to updating the TDA that those positions were reflected. 4.1, courts changed law clerk from pay grade 8 to pay grade 9, and changed law clerk 1 from pay grade 9 to pay grade 10. And then in soil conservation, create a part-time temporary conservation district special projects position, pay grade 12. And I think that's to get the new district manager up to speed with Davidson, and I believe it was no more than 75 hours.
Correct. Be 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, discussion.
So the change in the law clerk position is basically to try to be more consistent with how we treat the law clerks, who are a very important part of the court system. Quite literally, they write the opinions. Obviously, the judges have all the input, but they write the opinions, do the research, and are an integral part of it. And so we had a situation where you could only be receiving a certain compensation if you were licensed in the state of Pennsylvania. But if we really want to invite people from all parts of the country to come to live in our beautiful community and hopefully stay here, we need to recognize that sometimes law clerks will come out of law school and they take a bar for the state of New York or the state of Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and they may choose to clerk here. And by doing this, hopefully, it not only provides a broader group of people for the judges to draw on as law clerks, but it also invites people to our community who might not otherwise think of coming here, and then many of them stay. In fact, if you look at the bar, the lawyers in the community, many of them came from other places and ended up staying here. So that's the reason for that. And it also sets more of a path of moving upward. If you don't have a bar license, if you don't take the bar and pass the exam, if you then take it, if it's in Pennsylvania, if you're here with so many years' experience, it creates a better structure.
It gives them a way to grow within the position. Once they get their law degree, they go to a 10, and if experience, they go to a pay grade 11 after
Yeah.
they get 2 years' experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion or questions? Okay. Have a motion to accept the TDA changes.
I'll move to accept the TDA change.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. We'll recess the Commissioners' Public Meeting at this time and convene the salary board actions.
Director McDermott's gonna present also.
Okay.
And commissioners will go through these individually. 5.1, in the courts, change the law clerk from pay grade 8 to pay grade 9, change law clerk 1 from pay grade 9 to pay grade 10.
Okay. Have a motion to accept.
I am not gonna vote on this. As a member of the salary board, I was not made aware of these changes before the meeting today.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know you were not made aware.
Okay. Probably because the HR meeting was canceled too.
Yes, and so we apologize. That was completely just a logistical thing because of the
Open enrollment.
open enrollment, and we didn't have the meeting. Can we put this on for Thursday?
Can we delay this to Thursday, council?
Certainly.
Okay.
We'll put on for Thursday,
Okay.
okay? So at this time, I'll adjourn the salary board actions and we'll go on board of assessments. We'll place that on for Thursday's schedule.
Yeah, the salary board, yeah, we'll put that on
Okay.
Thursdays.
Thank
And
you,
Brooke,
Nikki.
Brooke Wright is here
Hi, Brooke.
to, present.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm here to ask you to approve the 2021 certified tax rolls. We have, for taxable parcels, 51,989. The taxable assessment is 5,741,603,725. We have 2022 exempt parcels with an assessment of 1,024,279,890. For total parcels of 54,011, for total assessment of 6,765,883,615. I'd also like to make a note, this is an increase from last year. We have an increase of 6,364,000 in assessment. So there was an increase even with COVID going on and everything. And partially it's because of decrease of real estate appeals from last year.
Okay. Thank you.
By the way, thanks for putting it in the agenda. I think it's really helpful for the public to be able to see that. So, Brooke, the 2022 parcels are exempt from paying county taxes, right?
Yes.
Are they also exempt from the other taxes, school district, et cetera?
Yes, they're exempt from all taxes.
From all taxes. But it amounts to over $1 billion in value,
Yes,
which is interesting. It's a very small percent in terms of number of parcels, right? It looks like it's maybe 2%, no, 4% or something. 2,000 is probably about 4% of the, but it makes up almost 20% of the assessed potential revenue source.
Mhm.
Wow, that is very significant, and it's one of the reasons why we need relief from Harrisburg, because I suspect a lot of them are in the third-class city in Williamsport, and other places too.
There's other places, but the majority of them, I think, come from
Yeah,
Williamson.
well, actually, you can think of UPMC out in Muncie and
Yes,
so it's really, it's part of the problem that we face as counties with third-class cities, and it doesn't mean the city's bad, it just means the population, it has a very high percent of non-taxable.
They're nonprofits that are hiring people, they're employers that bring jobs here too, so.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong, that's not, I hope
Yeah.
that wasn't what was construed. I don't mean to say that listen, UPMC is the largest employer in the county. What I mean is that when I was in the legislature, there was a bill that if a community had more than a certain percent of properties that were non-taxable, that they would be eligible from assistance from the state. And that's what I'm really getting at, is that Harrisburg needs to help, because it isn't just us, it's literally every county that has a third-class city in rural Pennsylvania has the same problem. And it's just something that's gonna continue to stay with us, so hopefully we can get the attention of our elected officials. So thanks for providing this.
Yeah, thank you,
You're
Brooke. Okay. I have a motion to accept the,
I'll move to
okay,
accept
a
this.
second, all fair side?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
thank
Brooke.
you.
We will reconvene the Commissioners' public meeting, and we have an informational item, just to let everybody know, Thursday, there'll be a chance for the public to comment on the proposed 2021 Lycoming County budget,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll move into the action items. 8.1, Maya Toon.
Morning, Maya.
Good morning.
Do you just want to go through them all?
Yeah,
Okay.
we just do that.
Yeah, you got quite a few here, so
Yep. as
So
long
she
as
has
everyone gets that.
8.1 through 8.8.
kick back and let you take
All
the
right.
stage.
All right, the first item I have, it's to vote on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security 2020 State Homeland Security Grant Program. That's in the amount of $559,522. That encompasses a broad range of counties, including Lycoming, Bradford, Clinton, Columbia, Montour, Northumberland, Potter, Sullivan, Tioga, and Union counties. And it's to help identify and plan for any kind of acts of terrorism or catastrophic events within those counties. So collectively, they go together, and that pool of money will be distributed accordingly based off of what the plan will be.
Okay.
I don't want to touch it.
Remove this.
I'm perfectly, challenged. The next item is to vote on the purchase of 7 motor kits from Willow Products in the amount of $15,049.51. As you recall, Mr. Shoemaker sent the commissioners an email regarding this. We currently have an agreement with Willows to provide these motor kits for the design of them. This is now the part where they actually are going to build them and install them. So we are doing seven kits.
This is really a great savings from where we were before, because about 2 or 3 years ago, we were looking at over $1 million for new locks.
Yep.
And, it's been a challenge probably for the maintenance folks in the prison, but they've worked really hard, along with the warden and the others, to find a way to not have to just wholesale replace all the locks that have cost over $1 million, but to be able to get the company to build the motor kits as they need it, so.
Yeah, they did, basically they're doing a retrofit.
Yeah, they're doing a retrofit, and, I mean, it's, this design is probably 30 years old.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
non-existent anymore.
Yep, so,
And prison was built in '86, so it's going on 35 years.
yeah. Do you want to vote on these as we go?
We can't if you want.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Okay, let's go back to action item 8.1. Any questions or discussions on that one? Okay, I have a motion to accept.
I'll move to accept.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So that one's carried. And the second one will be action item 8.2, which is the locks. And I have a motion to accept.
I would move to accept it.
And I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So that's carried. Okay. Action item 8.3.
Okay. This item is for the purchase of 2 central scanners from Clear Ballot Hardware. It's in the amount of $54,182. This is going to be reimbursed under the COVID County Relief Block Grant. And as everyone's aware, typically we have 700 mail-in ballots on an election night on a normal election period, but due to COVID, they processed more than 13,000 mail-in ballots. So obviously these scanners were to assist in that effort.
Okay, any questions?
Now, just to note, the $54,000 is just for the scanners. There is an additional $11,982 to cover the maintenance and extended warranty. That will not be part of the grant, but be billed as part of the regular budget process.
Okay. Any questions or discussion?
So that 54,000 was paid for by a state grant?
This is for, under the COVID one. that
On the
we are doing.
COVID.
Yeah, the $10.2
Right.
million.
Yep.
We're gonna,
Okay,
I'll be
great.
submitting for that for November.
Yep,
Okay, a motion to accept.
I'll move to accept.
And I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
The next agreement I have for consideration is an amendment to agreement with Rogers Uniforms. It's to extend the contract for an additional year. This is for the prison, it's for the correctional officer uniforms. They're gonna hold the same pricing, just extend it an additional year.
Yeah, I see his attachment here on the cost of them. Okay. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept?
I'll move to accept.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
The next agreement I have is a subrecipient agreement. It's with West Branch Drug and Alcohol Abuse Commission for the administration of Act 152 and Behavioral Health Services Initiative funds. These funds are to serve individuals who are uninsured or do not have insurance that covers the service they need or cannot obtain medical assistance benefits. This is an allocation we get every year that we pass through to West Branch Drug and Alcohol as they are the experts in this area to administer these funds. And we don't have an official I guess, approval from the state on what the allocation is, because that's still all being determined, given the state of the economy right now. But they told us to go off of what a previous year was, which is, that's what it is, so,
Okay, we hope to hear it by the end of the month
yes.
on what the state budget's gonna be, so.
Yeah.
So this is a pass-through from the state to the county West Branch,
Correct, it's a pass-through, yep.
okay?
So quick question, Molly, if
Yes.
you look at the grant amount in the right-hand corner,
Yes,
so, it's actually 586 plus 215?
yes, they're two, the funding sources are two different funding sources, however,
Right.
they do go hand in hand.
Okay,
So they break it out differently. For Act 152, it's medical assistance for those individuals that are uninsured. And then the BHSI is for those that cannot obtain at all.
okay,
So, see, they go hand in hand, but still different
Mhm.
uses.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, could I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried.
The next agreement I have is a subrecipient agreement with Lycoming County United Way. It's for the administration of the homeless assistance program funds. It's in the amount of $153,112. And again, this is a pass-through that we give to Lycoming County United Way to help comply with the HAP program funds that we get to assist those that are in need of assistance, whether they're homeless or near homeless.
Okay, and that's a pass-through from the state through us to United Way in the amount of $153,112.
Correct, and unfortunately, same situation, we're still using off of prior allocation, because no formal approval yet.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
The next agreement I have is an amendment to agreements with Paul Albert Architect to include an additional fee of $1,800. This is related to the MDJ Solomon build. Specifically, this amendment is to address the flood wall foundation for the underpinning conditions and regarding the construction associated with such. And once we have this in place, then we can start moving forward with all the necessary construction permits.
What was the amount? Oh, 1,800, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure Ken's excited to get that started.
Let's get through this stage.
Yep, okay. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second, all in favor, say aye.
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 And the last item I have is to vote on utilizing the PEN bid program to post and manage all aspects of the county's competitive bid process. Currently, right now, everything is done through a mail-in system. This will all be done electronically, so those that want to participate in the bid process with the county would have to do so through an electronic process, which would be secured through the controller's office, and then open publicly as part of the normal procurement process. It does everything from submitting to management, the entire process from a vendor management standpoint, a bid tabulation standpoint, and also, ensuring correct documentation through the process of submitting through bid bonds, questions and answers, all of that. So very exciting stuff because it's putting us in current times. So, I think it'll, the whole way around make it life a lot easier, not only for my office, but the controller's office and for bidders too, so.
Is it safe to say it's like using eBay for bids?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yep.
So for the public, basically, we are coming into the 20th or 21st century, I don't know.
correct.
And one of those. And it is going to open it up to other people. It means now that vendors who might be able to bid on it and hadn't seen it in the local paper would be able to see it.
Yeah, to expand on that, right now I I just have an in-house vendor management program. So basically, I have a vendor application form on our website. They fill it out and then I put them on my list. And when there's a bid opportunity that would hit their commodity that would be of interest to them, I send them a notification for them to bid. Obviously, that takes a lot of time to do. And then, ensuring that you're hitting everyone that you're supposed to as well. So with this process is that when they go into the system and they register themselves, they will be required to put an NACIS code in, which will automatically generate a notification to them in the system when a product would be of interest to them. So it excludes me from doing any of that. It's automatically done. And hopefully that'll generate a bigger pool of bidders. And at the same time, you know, perhaps lower cost by making it more competitive. So, yeah, so there's a lot of benefits to it. There is no cost to the county, obviously, to participate in the program. There is a cost to bidders, but only for that bidder that is awarded. It's a third of cost of the total award amount. That cost, though, it would be no different than if they were to submit through the normal process we are doing now, which would not be electronic, but hard copy. The process that it takes, the time to mail and all that that goes into that process would still be equal value to that done electronically.
Plus, whoever's bidding can pull it right up on their phone and follow it.
Yeah, yeah, there's just, you know, ease of it, you know, especially in
Yeah.
times that we're in now, you know, if unfortunately any of us would have to quarantine and still have to continue to work from home to maintain operations, this would allow us to do that.
Just more efficient all the way around for
Yes.
everybody.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, great. A motion to accept.
I'll move to accept.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maya.
8.9, Director McDermott, vote on agreement with Larson Design Group for the subdivision plan.
Commissioners, seeking your approval on this agreement with Larson for the KOZ, KOEZ subdivision. Obviously, this is a requirement from the state, and that we need to do some housekeeping on the KOZ property. 12,204.
Okay, any discussion on this or questions?
So this is the land opposite the landfill, and, you know, our goal is to try to get some jobs into the community, and part of doing that is to make sure that we are competitive with other communities. I'll be honest with you, sometimes I go not crazy about the KOZ program, but the reality is that it's a statewide program, and if another county or another municipality is participating in it and we're not, it just is something against us. The other thing is that it's not like we're collecting taxes on the land right now, and so, you know, it'll be in the KOZ for a certain amount of time, and then it'll emerge and they'll start paying taxes. You know, some good examples are, if you look at the hotel opposite Penn College, that was in the KOZ, and it's a long time ago. It's not in it anymore, and it's paying taxes. So this is a further effort by this board to try to see if we can generate some interest in getting jobs there.
Well, we have two companies, outstanding companies, that are very interested in the land. We have one that's very close to a sales agreement, so even if they weren't interested, we still have to do this to market the land. But the fact that we have both of those businesses on the doorstep of our county and one almost done, we really need to do this.
And you know, one might ask if, based on what we're just talking about, why do we have these tax programs? And the reason I single out the KOZ is, again, when I was in the legislature, there are a lot of studies that came out that showed that it didn't necessarily produce more growth. But here's the problem. Other states have them. So you're faced with the same problem of, you know, having states compete against each other. And you know, just a good example is helicopter and airplane repairs. We had to pass legislation not making the repairs and the purchase subject to sales tax because the states around us didn't make it subject. So that meant that if you're buying $1 million plane or you're getting a $300,000 overhaul and you're saving 6%, it's very easy to just fly it. So we do these things to be competitive, and at the same time, obviously, we need to work on all the other parts of it. But yeah, hopefully it's going to help us.
Yep. Okay. Motion accept.
I'll move to accept.
All fair say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried.
8.10, Scott Conkle, vote on sublease agreement with Williamsport Area School District.
Morning, Scott.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a sublease with Williamsport Area School District to locate radio equipment and antennas at our Bald Eagle Tower, which is outside of Du Bois Town, and our Shriver Bridge Tower, which is between Ralston and Trout Run.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept?
I'll move to accept.
I'll second. All fair say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
8.11, 8.12 are Rodney Morehart, and I'm just gonna let Rodney go through what he has, 'cause
Morning.
there's a couple additions or to what you were going to present, right? So I'll let you go through those.
Okay, the first item, we have 23 nutrient trading landowner contract agreements. These are the standard every year contracts that we have with the farming operations that generate the credits that we sell to wastewater treatment plants that need credits. All 23 are past participants, there's no new participants in that.
Okay. Any questions on those?
So, Rod, maybe you could just explain to the public a little bit about what the nutrient trading program is. I just moved to the county. I have no idea why, how did it come about, why, what's
Okay.
going on?
Basically, your local wastewater treatment plants and some industrial plants, they're required to have a discharge permit. And those permits regulate how much nitrogen and phosphorus are allowed to put out into the local streams. So they can either do, like Williamsport locally, most of the plants locally did a big buildup, which is very costly, to get down below that number. One of the benefits for them is when they get below the number that they're allowed, they can, if they're allowed 10,000 pounds, if they are only discharging 8,000 pounds, they can sell those 2,000 pounds to other operations that need credits. Likewise, you can generate credits through farming practices. The farmers that participate have to have a agricultural and erosion sedimentation plan. Then if they have animals or use manure, they need a manure management plan. And basically, to be eligible, they're required to meet a baseline. So say along the river there's flat ground. If you're allowed to lose 4 tons of soil per year, we run a calculation that says, well, yeah, to meet baseline, you can plow that. Multiple plow year after year. So if they're doing conservation tillage or no-till on that land, they get a credit for the difference in what they're allowed to put out as opposed to what they are actually putting out in terms of what enters the local stream through the Chesapeake Bay model. Additionally, like if you do a cover crop at the end of the year, that traps nutrients that if the crop wasn't there, you get a big rainstorm, if someone had applied manure, that washes off. So we run calculations to see what these credits generate based on how much manure, commercial fertilizer they use, stuff like that. These farmers are allowed to sell them just like to the wastewater treatment plants, just like the wastewater treatment plants are. And this was this program was created in Lycoming County back in the 2004, I think it was, when we started. Because of the buildup that was required by the local plants, the thought was if we can generate some credits, maybe some of the smaller plants don't need to do a build-up. They can buy the credits at a cheaper rate than what they would pay for a brick and mortar build-up. So we've been selling since early 2000s, 2005, 6 maybe. So no, I'm sorry, late 2000s. I think 8 was the first year. But anyways, that's kind of the gist of it. It allows us to bring money into the local farm community for doing good practices on the ground that are helping offset what the treatment plant can't reach.
Thanks, Rod. That's great. I think the reason I ask is because I think a lot of folks don't understand that it's important in terms of in terms of our local farmers and rewarding them for best practices and for helping to keep the streams and the rivers clean. I mean, it all flows down to the Chesapeake, but it also we live among it ourselves, so we want to. So that's good.
That's a way to help the farmers.
Yeah.
They need it.
They definitely need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I have a motion to accept the action item 8.11, vote on the 23 new trading landowner agreements.
I'll move to approve all 23 of them.
I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
Okay, the second item on the agenda is 3 nutrient credit trading buyers agreements. These will be agreements with the county of Lycoming through the nutrient trading program that's been established, and wastewater treatment plants. Actually, I got an email last night at 9 o'clock from an entity that wants to purchase credits. I've been talking to them. So if you allow me to add that one, there would be 4 contracts to sign.
That's fine.
Okay. So the first one, we got approached by a consulting firm buying for a wastewater treatment plant. It's for 3,750 credits at $6 per credit. Previous high we'd ever gotten was $4 per credit. A credit is a pound of nitrogen in this case. I should have mentioned that earlier. The second one is, it's a local wastewater treatment plant in Northumberland County. They usually buy from 2 local sources. Those sources weren't able to complete their allotted need this year, and they had budgeted $2 per credit based on past sales with them. So we ended up agreeing to potentially sell them 2,100 credits at $2. And the third one that's on the agenda is another wastewater treatment plant in an adjacent county. And that's for 933 credits at $3 per credit. And the fourth one is an agricultural industrial processing plant. Company makes applesauce and pie filling down in Adams County. And that's the one that just came in last night about 9 o'clock. They're requesting us to sell them 4,503 credits at $3 each. This is the last week we can sell them, basically. The deadline to get everything to DEP is next Monday. So we were fortunate that one came in when it did.
So do you have any idea what the total was that we were able to generate from all the credits?
Yeah, 9161 was the total amount, and the total credit value in sales will be $43,008.
Okay.
Okay.
It's tough. The value of the credits has gone down. I mean, there's.
Yeah, the last 2 years were very wet,
Mm-hmm.
and with this year being so dry, it worked to the wastewater treatment plant's advantage, to our disadvantage, so yeah.
Okay, motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thanks.
Thanks, Ro.
8.13, Shannon Rossman.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Where you going?
Attached to the agenda, you will see the 17 small businesses that we have recommended awarding checks to for the grant, the COVID CARES Relief Grant funding. These businesses have all given us their proper documentation. All of their funds have been correctly received, and we would recommend that these checks be cut this week so that we can disperse them on Friday. The amount is $161,000.
700.
Around,
Yeah, 161,
161,000.
700 is what's in the
yeah,
agenda.
yeah. And these are grants, this is not a loan.
Okay.
And this is the pass-through of the, I should say, the allocation of the money that came from the federal government.
Yeah, the $10.2 million.
Something interesting, the commissioners worked, and planning and CEDACOG, everyone has been working very hard to get this money out to the community. In the course of one of our meetings, I think we learned that one of the counties actually just kept
The majority of the funds.
kept the majority of the funds. So that would be like us getting $10.5 million and not passing it to nonprofit, small businesses, everything, they just keeping it all. I mean, I'm not gonna judge why they did it, but it certainly, I think, shows great effort on our part to try to get out and help the community.
And we do want to apologize, it's just, there are so many things and requirements with this funding, and with 168 awards for small businesses, I have 6 people working almost full-time around, during working hours, trying to work with all the small businesses to get the correct documentation, to make sure, and the state is all federal funds is being administered through the state, and the state is making us also make sure that if they got other COVID CARES funds, that we document what they use that for too. So our phones are ringing off the hook with, will this work, will that work, is this invoice okay? And, it's we're pulling our hair out, but we're trying to get it done as quickly as we can.
We want to help as many entities and businesses as possible, but we have to make sure that everything's done properly so no one has to pay the monies back.
Right.
Because that'd be the worst thing, that you have to go through this and the monies are spent and you have to turn around and
And we actually
Pay it back.
had one company, we called to let them know they were getting an award, and unfortunately, that was the day they were closing because they just could not make it through. So, and that's, you do have to be in business after you receive the award, that is a requirement, so.
Yeah.
So, and I think probably the public would want the money accounted for. I mean, there's lots of rules, lots of regulations. This is trillions of dollars going all across the United States, and so we just have to follow it. But our thanks to all the folks in the department there.
Absolutely. Procurement, your office, and
Yeah.
CEDACOG, they've all worked around the clock on it.
Lots of paper.
Lots of paperwork.
We walk the paper to
Committee.
Maya looks at it, then she walks the paper to
Yeah.
the controllers, the controller looks.
Yeah.
The controller.
All
Yeah,
of,
and the controller
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
So we don't want to leave anybody out, but
no.
it's quite a process, and everybody, again, it's teamwork.
Yeah.
Everybody working together as a team and to help the community.
Yeah.
And the commissioners have been briefed and meeting every 2 weeks, lately every week on Tuesday before this meeting, to make sure that from a policy perspective, we're achieving what the 3 of us have a consensus to do.
Mhm.
So,
And we're trying to get it out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Right, and we were going to present you the nonprofit awards, but I have 2 or 3 that we just need to verify, so we'll do that on Thursday.
So all the nonprofits will be approved on Thursday, or voted on for approval on Thursday, that are on the list, and we'll do that on Thursday. So we apologize for the 2-day delay, but we just gotta make sure that everything is completed on our end. So, okay. So I have a motion to accept action item 8.13.
I'll move to approve it.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Shannon.
8.14, Jenny Picciano, vote on submitting the 2020-2021 fair grant application.
Morning, Jenny.
Good morning. We are seeking approval to submit a grant for $948,000 for 7 projects for the FAIR program, which is the PA Housing Affordability Fund, to PHFA, which is the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Authority, for 7 projects this year. And I'm not sure if you got the list. It wasn't on the agenda, so if not, I'll go ahead and read them.
I think I have it.
I don't have it.
Sure, I apologize for that. The 7 projects are 3 county-sponsored programs, which are STEP Supportive Housing Program, and our recommended amount, which will be would like to submit for, is for $265,000. For STEP's Regional Homes in Need Program for $225,000. For STEP's Urgent Need Home Repair Program for $25,000. For Transitional Living Centers Master Leasing Program for $200,000. And for 3 programs that were selected through our competitively sponsored program. And those are the Greater Lycoming Habitat for Humanity's Memorial Homes Scott Streetfield for $63,000. The YWCA North Central PA's Liberty House Program for $70,000. And the American Rescue Workers Rental Assistance Program for $100,000. Our application deadline is November 20th, and we should know from PHFA next summer with award announcements. The PHFA, or the FAIR program, is actually funded through Marcellus Shale gas revenue that supports affordable housing, that supports the creation, rehabilitation, and support of affordable housing. So these funds can only be used for affordable housing.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Jenny. Motion to accept.
I'll move to accept.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
Finally, 8.15, Ken George, recommend award invitation to bid for the installation of a kitchen hood fire suppression system with Fry's Fire Protection.
Good morning,
Morning,
Commissioners. As you all know, this has been a long-going project to get laid out, but this is the agreement for $54,265 to install a fire suppression hood in the kitchen of the PRC buildings.
Okay, it's quite a high price, but at the same time, it's what came in, and we have to have it done. We have residents out there. We're certainly not going to risk anybody getting hurt in a fire. We will make sure all the safety and codes are up to date and complied with, so it's something that we need to do, and we have a duty to do.
And just a note too, this is part of our 2020 P Corp application, so $20,000 will go towards the offset of this overall.
That's
cost.
good news.
Well, that's good news. I wasn't thrilled with voting for this. We're sort of caught between a rock and a hard place. It is a code requirement, and I mean, and that's not an unreasonable regulation. It's designed to prevent fires, especially grease fires, in kitchens. And you put it out to bid multiple times, right?
Yes.
We did one a quote process earlier on during COVID, and then we actually did a formal, once we realized the price was gonna come in higher than what we anticipated, then we had to do the formal bid process, and still, unfortunately, we only had one bidder, which was Fry's.
Right.
So-
And part of it is that when we originally did it, we didn't have the makeup air, which is a code requirement. Because a certain amount of air is being taken out, a certain amount of air has to be put back in to the kitchen. So, well, it's good to know 20,000 of it will come from that grant.
And again, with that, that's even more of a time constriction because we have to have that expended by the end of the year as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay.
So you'll be spending your Thanksgiving putting the hood in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll save you some turkey.
Thank
Okay, can I have a motion to accept this?
I'll move to accept.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Commissioner comments?
You know, I have a couple things. First of all, I want to thank voters, services, and all the county employees that stepped up to do an amazing job. IT, everybody that helped. This election day, which is like no other in our lifetime, maybe in history. We saw what Lycoming County did, and to their credit, it was absolutely incredible. So we want to thank them and their staff, and for the remarkable job they did. Second thing is, as everyone knows, tomorrow's Veterans Day. We have several veterans in the room here. If they would stand up, I'd like to recognize them for their service in the past. I think we should owe them a round of applause. And we want to thank all those veterans, and without you, we wouldn't have our freedoms. So we ask that, again, and this is something to instill in our children, is to explain to them how important our veterans are, and when they see a veteran, to take a minute to thank them for their service. It takes, they say giving someone a smile per day or saying a good word per day really picks up a person. Well, it does a great deal to thank a veteran because the sacrifices they and their families have gone through are absolutely incredible. So thank you for those veterans, and we continue to recognize them throughout the week. Last thing is, I encourage us to continue to support local businesses. As you know, COVID's far from over, and our businesses are hurting. There's people out there hurting. We heard this morning that just the rescue workers alone normally do 750 meals per month. They're doing 1,200 meals per week, which is incredible. So you see their communities truly hurting, and we need to support our businesses, our people in the community, and it's so vital, especially these days, to reach out and help if you're able to. One last thing I also want to include is we have allocated, we're allocating, not all of it yet, but we've allocated $10.2 million in CARES Fund money. And as you heard this morning, those monies have to be tracked, they have to be audited, and they have to be accounted for. We've allocated $3.1 million to our school districts, and there's no paper trail with that. We're positive that they're doing the proper thing with the monies. Okay, that's not a question I'm putting out. What I'm asking for is the school districts to post on their websites how they're allocating those monies. I think true transparency is important for our school districts to say where that money is going, and it doesn't have to be in extreme detail, but just a list what they're doing with those monies, whether it's going towards PP&E and the amounts it's going towards those funds is so important, because those are our tax dollars, our federal tax dollars, and the school boards are elected people also, and they have a responsibility to explain to their constituents in each one of their school districts how they're allocating those monies. So I would encourage those school districts to please take the time, have their business manager post on their websites so they have a description in their community how they're spending those monies. I think it's the right thing to do, and I think it's a good thing to be accountable and transparent to the public. So, okay. All right. That's it for Commissioner's comment?
Yep. Public comment?
Any public comment this time? Yes. You step up to the podium, please, and remove your mask so I can hear it clearly.
Move my mask.
Well, just if you pull it down, please, so we can hear you.
Okay.
Because, yeah, it's hard done sometimes, especially with the video. There you go. Now we can hear you better, Bill.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners.
Thank
I'm
you.
proud to be here today. Unfortunately, after a long vote, tedious 19 hours in the hall, I want to say thank you to all the people who manned the halls. It's very important that they get a lot of jurisdiction out of this, because without them people manning the voting precincts, this would not have happened properly. And we had a very good turnout. I know in our precinct we had over and above what we planned on. We were in a very small hall. It was very complicated to get the people in and out of our hall. We had lines that probably about 7 blocks long, maybe 8 blocks long around, and we're in a rural area. But I have addressed that situation, so we're moving forward with that. Now, on the flip side of this, I know no one wants to talk about COVID, but if people would go to the county's website and look at the county's website, with everything that's on there, it spells it out in detailed record. People in the hospitals, the people on respirators. As of this morning, when I did a check on it real quick, I was doing some other stuff before I had another meeting coming this afternoon. We had 2 people on respirators at the present time, ventilators at the hospital, and we have 19 people in Lycoming County in our hospitals. And that number is going to grow, unfortunately, because as of the other day when we was in Walmart yesterday, and the people in Walmart, a lot of them had masks on, but I would have to say probably 70% had, 30% did not have masks on. That's not a good deal. With that being said, our neighboring counties throughout are getting swamped with hospital problems. Montour County has 30-some people in the hospital. They have right now a total of 7 on ventilators, and their numbers are growing down there in Geisinger. It's really growing hard. All over the area, it's getting very complex to follow through with all the procedures. As I've always said, it'd be nice if we could all wear a mask, get it over with. It's nothing about political or politics. It's all about being Americans and trying to get the people to understand that if you could save a life, it's important. So at that time, I'd like to say thank you again for your support and for all your supplies for the elections. I really appreciate that. We were a little short on a few things, but who was to tell what was going to happen? We did not know. So the other thing, one question I have for you on the budget. Now, I know it's a little early for this, but I'm just curious on the $5 million others. What would that pertain to in the budget? $5 million others?
What department, Bill, was it in?
It just said $5 million other.
Are you looking at, there's 3 columns. One is like general fund, bond fund?
No, I'm looking at the budget as it's drawn. I examined the budget fully and looked at all the line items. It had $5 million. It says other. Why did it say other? I'm just curious.
We'll get an answer for you Thursday.
Yeah,
we'll look it up. I mean, there's just, and I'm not sure this is what you're referring to, there are columns that show what it's being paid from, whether it's being paid from bond, general fund.
But when you use the word other in anything,
right,
that's something that gets stamped on.
Right, it's not descriptive.
It's not very descriptive,
Yeah.
and you have to look at that with a fine-tooth
We'll
comb
have an
and
answer.
say,
We'll have an answer for you Thursday.
okay.
Commissioner, it may be the column, it does say other, and it could be Act 13 bond money, you know.
Right, right. We'll get a clarification, and actually, it's a good point. Maybe in the future, instead of saying other, we ought to just say what it is.
Right.
It's Act 13.
Now, this is my opinion. And watching a lot of the other counties with just different virtual meetings I've been going through, a lot of communities right now, a lot of counties are going to virtual meetings. Our pandemic is getting widespread in rural areas. And I think maybe something should be addressed. Maybe you should look at, maybe go back to virtual for a while and we get this under control a little bit better, because our numbers are growing every day here in our area. They're not going down.
Well, Bill, I'll address that right now.
Right.
I am totally against going back to virtual as of right now.
Well,
Unless we we are elected officials, and I spoke last night at the Mattersville Borough Council meeting, and I thanked them for meeting in person.
Yeah.
Okay, people want to see their elected officials. They want to see them, they want to hear from them, and they want to make sure that they're working. And we've been able to work through this pandemic, and the important thing is the county employees have been able to work through this pandemic. And the important thing is our numbers at this point are growing, okay? There's no doubt about that, okay? But we have colleges in the area, we have a lot of things that contribute to that. Not saying that's where all the cases are at, but at the same time, we can do things safely, and we've been able to do things safely, and county government has not been identified as a hot spot where people that are employees are getting sick, where we have to shut things down. At this point, I would say we continue to meet in person. Now, I'm not saying that would ever change. We may have to go back to virtual. But as of right now, it's very important that we meet in person.
I understand what you're saying, Scott, but my indication is from different outfits, and I met with a lot of people, I meet with the Board of Health a lot, virtual, okay? Problem I have with the whole situation is, I would not like to have a death on my head if someone dies because of stupidity. I'm used to stupidity, I shouldn't use that word, but I will. I think it'd be more retroactive if someone say, hey, maybe some of these places should take a look at this and use the mask. Is it a dead set thing? I don't know. Unfortunately, we have to do something to stop this or get a handle on it. In reference to your question, I have a question for you on this. Does that pertain to all farmers?
Potentially.
I'm going to use it. I'm going to use terminology here. Now, don't take it wrong up here. When I say that, does it pertain to Amish?
Yeah,
It does.
if they chose to participate, they could.
But are they?
No.
Question, sir. That's all I would ask.
Bill, just so you understand, all farmers are subject to the regulations that are part of what the Conservation District does. So some farmers may choose to participate in the nutrient trading and others may not. But it doesn't mean that they're not complying with the requirement.
Rick, I asked a question. I asked the question.
Right.
I don't need a speech.
Okay.
Okay. The problem is, I asked the question. When you go to a store, certain congregations don't wear masks.
Oh, well, that's a different, I thought you were talking about
That's the same way.
trading.
It's the same
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
these aren't loaded questions. But anyhow, I want, again, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
I
But
appreciate
before you
that.
step down,
Yes.
we thank you, because what you were referring to is you were working the polls, right?
Yes.
Were you a judge of elections, or what was your title?
I run all the equipment.
Right. So the 19 hours you spent there, and I think Commissioner Metzger alluded to thanking folks, but we
Yep.
certainly want the public to know that we thank the people who ran the election on the ground, those election officers, people like you,
Yeah.
who spent 19 hours there. So we appreciate that.
Right, thank you so much, but the problem is, it should be ear noted. Last year, you gave certificates out.
Yeah.
They gave certificates out. This year, there was nothing gave out.
Well, maybe it's not over yet.
We just
finished.
No, I understand.
He means that.
But a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's like the little stickers. We had
Yeah.
people hand stuff out,
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
Just so you know, I have had constituents say to me that we should go virtual. So I don't want you to feel like you're the only person out there.
And go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, the only thing I was going to say is the problem with all of this, with wearing masks and everything, is that if we wait till it gets worse before we do things, then the cat's already out of the bag to a certain extent, and then the proliferation rate increases. That's only my only concern, is that it's almost like we have to take proactive, and I think people are somewhat lackadaisical about wearing masks, and I think it's disappointing because especially in rural communities where we've talked about this before, where we have such a low density of people, remember we talked about this with UPMC, that we have an opportunity to not have any cases if we take sort of the basic kinds of precautions, getting people to wear masks.
I'll just
I mean,
add,
even I'm looking in the room here and I'm seeing like 3 or 4 people without masks on.
and I'll just add that the mask is a tool. It is not a cure-all. By wearing a mask, this virus will not go away. The mask stays in homes, and people are in homes. So you're gonna have to wear your mask 24/7 in your home if this is the case, if it's gonna go away. So the bottom line is the mask is a tool. People get COVID that wear the mask all the time. It's noted. And I also note that out of the 230,000 deaths, 88,000 of those deaths had pneumonia or influenza. Okay, and out of those 88,000, influenza, pneumonia, or COVID killed, they put COVID on the death certificate. Well, we know pneumonia kills, and we know influenza kills. And we also know that 140,000 people had fatal conditions out of those 230,000 deaths. So the numbers continue to be distorted, and they continue to be inflated. COVID's real. COVID is deadly, but the deaths are going down nationally. The cases are going up, but the deaths are going down. We have to live with it. I have no problem with people wearing a mask. I support wearing a mask. But to tell people to wear a mask and COVID's going to go away is absolutely false.
But the only thing is that COVID is not a living organism. COVID is a virus that depends on a host. That's a biological fact. If there is no host, there is no way for the virus to sustain itself. That's the purpose of the mask. Is I don't wear the mask to make myself feel more comfortable that I'm not going to get COVID. I wear the mask so that if I have it and I don't realize it because I have a strong immune system, I don't inadvertently give it to someone else who has a weaker immune system. It's an act of love to wear a mask, because what you're really saying is I love the people around me enough that if I'm carrying it. You know, it's interesting. I was talking to a veteran who was in Japan years ago, and she said to me, she started wearing masks because she went to Japan, everyone, if they had a slightest cold or anything, wore a mask. They wore it out of respect to the group, and they wore it so they didn't spread the cold. So she understood when they said, you know, we should be wearing masks. It's something for us to think about. Is I think.
Okay, any other public comment at this time? Thank you, Bill. Could you please state your full name for the record?
My full name is William Fenderson.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comment at this time? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned until Thursday, 10 a.m. Everybody have a great day. That should be in the trash can.